guys, welcome to Real Men Talk. Today, we're going to be talking about the people you surround yourself with. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation where you're just exhausted. You seem like you're just fighting continuously all the time, over and over, one battle after another, and you just seem to be exhausted. Well, we would really like to ask you this simple question: Are your arms tired yet? As we explore Exodus 17, verses 8 through 16, we're going to be talking about Moses and how the reason why he won the battle against the Amalekites is because the people he surrounded himself. Oftentimes, the people who we surround ourselves with will determine whether or not we win the battle or not. Let's get started on Real Men Talk.
Welcome to Real Man Talk, discussing the tough issues facing men and their families every day. Here's Anthony Curnutt and Carla Sau.
All right, guys, what's going on? Carla, what's up, man?
Hey guys, what's happening?
All right, so like I said, we're going to be in Exodus chapter 17, verses 8 through 6, and I think this is such a good episode. I was telling Kyler for right now. This is such a good discussion, and I think it's important right now because the holiday seasons often is chaotic. It's hard for people at times, or it is for us. See, we've got especially now that we have kids that are moved out, right? We got one in Springfield, so we're trying to juggle him. One that's married now, and trying to figure out times to just line everything up and trying to so on and so forth. There's a lot of variables that go in there. Thanksgiving was phenomenal, right? We just come out of and we get to spend lots of time with them, but trying to make sure all your Christmas gifts are bought and all the chaos of trying to make sure all your bills are paid on top of it. And when you have as many kids as we do, Kyler,
Too many.
I was thinking about that. We have 11 kids between the two of us.
Yeah, that's all of our picks for a team. That's it.
That's it.
And some of them we may not get because at the park department we only give you 4, so one kid's left out.
One kid's left out. That's funny, but yeah, man, it's great. And so as we go through and we are fighting these battles, we've been my particular family has been going through, it seems like, just one series of a fight after another and another and another, and it can be so exhausting. We know that God is good, right? We know that He is always faithful, and He will never let us down, right? That's not the point. But the point is that God also gives us wisdom, and the people that we surround ourselves with is part of that wisdom, right?
Yes.
Is part of the tools that He gives us to be able to fight spiritually, to be able to go the distance, you could say, in the battles, right? And so here in Exodus chapter 17, I'm going to let Kyler read it, but
It's only because it has big words.
only because that's exactly right. I tell him, I was like, you better be ready. You're going to read this.
Not even that many big words.
Nah, go ahead and run through that. It's only a few verses there.
Yeah. So we're doing Exodus 17, 8 through 16, and it says, At Rephidim, Amalek came and fought against Israel. Moses said to Joshua, Select some men for us and go fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the hilltop with God's staff in my hand. Joshua did as Moses had told him and fought against Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. While Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed. But whenever he put his hand down, Amalek prevailed. When Moses' hands grew weary, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat down on top of it. Then Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and one on the other side, so that his hands remained steady until the sun went down. So Joshua defeated Amalek and his army with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, Write this down on a scroll as a reminder, and recite it to Joshua. I will completely blot out the memory of Amalek under the heavens. And Moses built an altar and named it, The Lord is my banner. He said, Indeed, my hand is lifted up toward the Lord's throne. The Lord will be at war with Amalek for generation to generation.
Yeah, man, that's good. That's good. And you want to know something that's wild? This Rephidim, right? This place that they were at. You know what that word means?
Morons.
No, it means resting places,
Mm.
right? And so here Moses and the Israelites were at a place of resting, right? Being attacked by the Amalekites. And even in that place of resting, it is still important for us to make sure that we have people by our side, right?
Mm-hmm.
This whole notion that whole story of God gave Moses very simple instructions. You wouldn't think that it would be too hard. In the youth group, we used to do this thing, and you probably did it when you were young, right? It's like give them just water bottles, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just hold them out to the side. You just stretch your arms out. You hold, because water bottles they don't weigh that much,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But you just take them out and you just stretch them out and you just hold them up. It doesn't take very long
To your
for those
arms.
water
Yeah.
those water bottles become really heavy,
Yes.
right?
I did band. I know you wouldn't think of it looking at me here because, I'm me, but we did band. And when we left trash on the band field, we did arm circles for days.
Oh my
And I'm like,
goodness.
it was like 10 or 20 arm circles per piece of trash that they had to pick up for themselves. And there was one time we did 500 arm circles.
Oh my
And they
goodness.
just kept going. My arms were tired. But you did it while holding your instrument. You didn't just get to put down your instrument. No, you held your instrument and did arm circles all at the same time.
That's
Now,
awesome.
if you're a flute, you got to put it down because, what's the difference? You're a flute. So
Right.
it's like 5 ounces, maybe. But I was like, dang. But when you think about it, even any type of resistance on your arms is going to get tired.
Yes.
Have you ever seen those guys who just hang there and they do like the pull up or the bar challenge where they just hold their arms there?
Yes.
Most last like 2 minutes. That's
Right.
it. They don't last very much longer than that. And then after that, they're like, I'm done. And then their arms are like, I'm dead. My arms are dead. My arms are dead. Think about it. This battle, it went on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it have a time in here?
I don't think it does. But even if it would have lasted, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
An hour, right? It would not have taken very long for Moses, right? So you look at what the instructions that God gave him,
Mm-hmm.
they can seem kind of, menial, right? Okay, so I'm going to hold up my staff, no big deal,
Yeah.
right? You get 2 minutes into it and you're like, this is, of course, Moses was probably a beast, but 5 minutes into it and it's like, this is going to be more challenging than what I thought, you
Yeah.
know. And how many times have we gone into, and I do this all the time, right? Because I always underestimate the things that I'm going to do. But how many times does God give us instructions? We're like, oh yeah, this is going to be, I've got this in the bag, right? And we go to do it, and it's like, this is not what I thought it was going to be, right? This is so much harder.
Oh yeah.
One time, just funny story. One time, my wife and I, the very first house that we bought, we had a one bathroom, right? And it was falling apart. It was that way when we bought it and stuff. We were like, we're going to remodel this bathroom. I was like, I'm going to remodel this bathroom in a weekend. I was like, I can do this. No big deal, right? It's not that big of a bathroom.
Oh.
Dude, 3 months for it to be completely done.
No.
I'll never remodel another bathroom ever again. ever. But that's just a funny story, but
right. But it takes a lot of endurance and a lot of persistence to make it through even the smallest bathroom remodel.
Yes.
Because when you're doing this, think about it. So this article that I was reading here, a couple of articles that said this, was that in Exodus 7, okay, we're in Exodus 17. Exodus 7, he was 80 years old. So think about an 80-year-old person. Let's just say he's the same age still.
Right.
Okay. Between Exodus 7 to Exodus 17. Probably not the case, but we'll just kicks and giggles. We're going to go 80. Imagine your 80-year-old grandpa going to the top of a mountain. Okay. He only lives to be 120. So he's over halfway there. 80 years old. He has to hold his arms up in the air. Think of this. And they age differently back in the Bible, I'm sure.
Right.
I'm
sure Moses was a beast.
Yeah, he's still like hurling stones at everybody and everything else too. But an 80-year-old man up at the top of this mountain holding his up, and he knows that the fate of the Israelites is in his hands at this point in time. All that weight. Okay, so not only is he feeling the physical weight of his arms, he's feeling the weight of the whole Israelite nation coming down on him saying, if I drop my arms, we're dead. we're
Right.
toast. We can't.
How many of us have ever felt that?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
anytime men fail, I think we feel that way. I know we feel that way.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is I failed, so now what else is going to fail?
Right.
Because I did this wrong. I mean, my mind, I'm that person that if I mess up or do one thing, it replays my mind 1,000
No,
times
yes, I'm the same
until
way.
I can't do it anymore. And then I have to, like, God, I need you to take this because I can't do it anymore. Because
Yeah.
I will. And it's always things I can't change. But the
Right.
devil knows I can't change it. So he's going to put it there all the time. And that's the hard part. I mean, when in this verse, when he's talking about it, it says, what did it say? Where was it here? When Moses' hands grew heavy, they
Mhm.
took a stone and put it under him. They added that he had those friends, Moses, Aaron, and Hur. He had those friends, though, in those situations when he was being reminded constantly that the weight of his arms were tiring, that the weight of the situation was on him, that he had these friends that he didn't have to say anything to. I don't ever see in this passage, which we don't get behind the scenes, we get the observer point of view here, but I don't ever see him turn into his friends and be like, yo, guys, I
Yeah.
need help at this point in time. There's
Right.
like, we know he's getting tired. We got to step into action.
Right.
And they threw up this heavy stone. They took it, put it under him, and sat him down. And then they helped support him. And I mean, when we go through these situations, that's the people that we need around us. That's the
Yes.
people that we have to have
Oh,
around us
goodness.
because they understand the pressure. They understand the intentions. They understand the importance behind us winning that battle.
Right.
And that's the hard part. I gotta go
Oh
ahead.
man, yeah, and that key point right there is they understood the importance of the battle,
Mm-hmm.
right? S- The people you choose around you can make or break it. I mean, think about it, if they would have had, if he would have just had just some punk, right? You
Right.
know, around them that or maybe not even a punk, maybe just somebody who w- did not value the situation as important as he did,
Right.
right? If we do not surround ourselves with people who are um or like-minded
Yes.
as we are, right, that understand the importance of our battle, right,
Mm-hmm.
just as we understand the importance of their battle, right. So this goes back to, you know, the thing that I always talk about, you know, Peter, or the Paul and the Timothy, right.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs a Paul, everybody needs a Timothy, but everybody also needs a part of us in their life, right. You know, a friend, a confidant. You know, Moses needed Aaron and Hur in this situation to be able to understand that, hey, if our lives, our livelihood, our children, our wives, are you know, are at stake
Yeah.
if we do not grasp a hold of the importance of this situation right here,
Yeah.
right. I agree. You didn't have to, you didn't see him anywhere in here turn around and be like, hey Joshua, will you go, or hey Aaron, will you go get me a rock to sit on, or hey, will you hold up my arms. They understood that, they seen him, the heaviness of the situation.
Yes.
And we often just, we feel that every man feels that heaviness. No,
Yes.
no man will ever get out of it. If you have a wife, if you have if you have children, my son just got married not too long ago, and we were just having a conversation about something that had happened in his life. You know, he said this is hitting me so much harder now. He said, it's weird. I said, but you have to understand, that's the responsibility that's hitting you.
Yeah.
You understand now. It's not just about you anymore.
Mm-mm.
You have somebody who's dependent upon you.
Right.
I said, you are feeling the weight of a man,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we carry that weight, but oftentimes we try to carry that weight alone. And God, I don't think God ever expects us to carry that weight alone.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't. Yes, there are things that are detailed to us, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't have people around us that hey, y- you're at stake, right?
Right.
You're, what you're going through is serious. I understand the severity of what you're going through. Let me hold up your arms. I cannot hold this staff for you.
Right.
That's your staff,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But I
This
can
is your
hold up your
battle,
arms. That,
but I
yeah,
can help you.
that's exactly right. And man, we need people like that in our lives. Every single one of us need people like that in our lives
Yes.
to to hold us up, to understand. You know, they may not be able to fight that battle for us, but they will hold up our arms.
Yes.
We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about Are your arms tired yet? We'll be right back after this.
I think we'd be great radio hosts.
Oh, 100%. Listen, I thought about it the other day.
Radio host?
You know you can get a grant to start a radio?
No?
Online. Like, we could do it out of here.
Could you take that grant, put it on the radio, but record it for podcasting?
Maybe.
Gray lines here.
Right.
Just saying.
I agree.
Because we'll just record everything we say, turn it into a podcast, put it on the podcast.
Right. Well, I mean, did
you randomly just have this epiphany? Like, what's it like to be a radio host?
No. So I know a couple guys who own radio stations, right? One of them does it all online. And I was like, I just wonder what it takes, right? Because I agree. Like, I think we work well together.
Yeah.
You know, I think we sound good.
We could banter.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm like, man, how cool would it be? I wonder what it would be like, right? Like, that was a job. Yeah. Right? Like, you know, and you just record everything, play music, all that good stuff, right?
I can play music.
And then we could do podcasting stuff, right? You know, all that, like, it could all be under Real Men Studios, right? Yeah. And so and then I was looking for grants. Yeah. Just to see, you know, for podcasts and stuff like that, you can get all kinds of crazy. Yeah. But there's one there for radio stations. And I was like, I wonder if Kyler would want to start a radio station.
We'll add that to our checklist of things that we need to do.
Yes.
Why work and make money when you can just...
Well, the thing is like, that's the thing. Like, if you get a grant, you have the money for the startup, right? Yeah. But just like any radio station, you get paid from your advertisers. Right. Right. We already have all of this, everything that we need. We already have. Like, we don't have to buy anything else. Right. So we just take all that money into marketing, right? Paying us to get to that point. Yeah. Right. And then put it all in marketing to bring people in for advertising. We're in the game. We already have like hours of segments and podcasts, and we, you know, promote our own podcast and everything. You know what I mean?
Put that in there.
Yeah. I mean, like, seriously.
It could be done.
Dude, I'm telling you. I thought it was a crazy idea until you mentioned it, and I was like,
you get the logistics together and tell me my salary, and then we'll go from there. Tell me what I'll be making. That's all I need to know.
Right? Yeah, I hear that. All right. I'm going to bring us back in. I got a funny story to tell.
Okay, do it.
All right, guys, welcome back. Kyler, I was telling you I had a funny story to tell. You know, so we were talking about, you know, the weight of a man, you know, and I'm like you, oftentimes, like, the mistakes. I hate to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. I hate it. I hate to be wrong. Right. And then, so this weekend we went to Springfield, which is 3 hours from where we live. And my son, well, it depends on who's driving. That's right. With Dusty driving, it's 2.5 hours, you know, but I'm like, you're going to take it. Anyways,
get a ticket.
She's like, you drive like a grandpa.
72 miles an hour, you can make it in 2 hours and 40 minutes.
That's right. She's like, you drive like a grandpa. Oh, whatever. I don't care. I don't mind to sleep while she's driving. She's a good driver.
You followed me in the van before. You are.
Yes. Yes, I know.
Anyways,
so we're 3 hours away, and we're on our way there. Now, James River has several different campuses, mm-hmm. right? And Tony had been not bragging, but Tony had been telling me how he had been leading at the West Campus, right? And he was telling me about how, you know, he'd been leading worship and all that stuff. Well, when we got there for the Christmas program, I thought that's where he was at, mm-hmm. right? So we drive up for the 5 o'clock. They've got 2 of them, 5 and 7. Yeah. Right. We drive up for the 5-1. We go to the West Campus, and we're sitting there, and I text him. I'm like, hey, we're here. We're in the second row, you know, whatever. We get there an hour early. Tony's he never comes out, and I'm like, I see another kid that I often see that leads worship and stuff like that and some of the other stuff. And I'm going, what is going on? Well, it starts. Tony doesn't come out on stage. We were at the wrong campus. We're supposed to be, he is leading worship there on Sundays. the Christmas program he was a part of was at the North Campus. And I was so mad. I was so angry at myself. I was like, of course, Dusty's like, it's no big deal. And it all worked out. We got to eat with him afterwards and stuff. But I was so aggravated. I was like, Dad, we come up here for this one. And I was so confident.
Yeah.
I was so, and I hate that. I was so
did you make
confident.
it for the 5 or the 7 one?
No, we went to Krispy Kreme, then we went to the 7 one.
Oh,
and stuff. And so
I guess you could have went to the 5 o'clock one, then booked it over to the 7 o'clock.
Yeah, no, we got. It's funny because we got up and left, and like they're like, "Is everything okay?" Like, sorry, we're at the wrong campus. Yeah, but I replayed that over and over. I was like, "How did I mess this up so bad? How did I mess this up?" I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is."
See, I just picture you. See, you should have said something witty like, "Sorry, I didn't know this was church." Just to see their face. If you don't know anything about James River, they are so welcoming. Like everything, like they will serve you to the extent that they can. They're the best people ever. And so if you would have said that, it would have been one of those like, "Where's Waldo?" Moments. Like, I have no idea what to say here.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, they were already like,
"Can I pray for you?"
It was almost like they were panicking. Like, why are you leaving? Like, what do we do? Yeah, what do we do? And I was like, sorry, we're at the wrong campus. And then everybody got a good laugh out of it, And yeah, but
Lord,
thank God for people that in my life, like Dusty, my wife, that is like, it's no big deal. Everything will work out, right?
I would have called you an idiot and been like, really? You had one job. Get us to the right place. I'm driving.
That is exactly. If you want to know what Kyler's like in situation, that is exact. I have heard those exact words.
I don't think I've said it out loud. I've thought it.
No, you've said it out loud.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean for you to hear it then. It just depends on the day.
That's funny. Good grief.
So back to people lifting you up, not tearing you down. Anyways.
But yeah, go ahead.
But the one thing I love about, we're going back to the story now, is that it matters though who you surrender yourself within your marriage to. I mean, in every situation, because you have to have that wife who's understanding, because you are you. And once you're married, you can't change that thing. And when you become married, as one of the tools that God gives you is that you're able to work with your spouse to make it through these battles. And one of the things I wanted to point out in verse 9, he talks about the rod. And let me pull it up real quick again. He says, Moses said to Joshua, "Select some men for us and go fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the hilltop with God's staff in my hand." So a little like history behind this is that same staff that he used to go fight this battle was the same staff that he used. If you scroll up to 17, verse 5, it says, "And the Lord said to Moses, go on before the people and take with you some of the elders of Israel. Also take in your hand your rod with which you struck the river, and go." This rod, this tool, God had already given Moses many times to use. He'd use this in different situations. And sometimes I think we forget that when we go into battle with the tools that God has equipped us. And sometimes we go into these battles and we forget everything that God has taught us, everything that God has brought us through. And we're like, how do we get to the end of this? There's a situation. I was actually at work today. A lady that I work with, her brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, but they're all really close still, went into liver failure, kidney failure, and some other failure all this weekend. And her sister, it's her ex-husband, but they have a good relationship. Her sister was like, "What do you do?" And she was like, "You go down there, you get in that room, and you pray, and you pray, and you pray, because that's the tools that God has given you to do." Right. And they sat there, and it was really funny, because the mother-in-law, her ex-mother-in-law, looked at her and said, "You're in charge." Looked at the ex-wife, was like, "You're in charge of this room. You don't let anybody in that is not willing to speak life into him." And today he did a full turnaround, and he started making improvements. The medicine finally started working. But it was because they used the tools that they knew they had. They didn't have a medical degree. That's not their tool. They didn't have the nursing degree. That's not their tool. They didn't have all the other things that other people have in their toolbox.
Right.
You have to use what is in yours. And in the situation with Moses, he knew that he had the rod of God, the rod that God had brought them through so many different situations. They had already won so many battles getting out of Israel that the God wasn't going to stop. Once he brings you out of that desert situation, once he brings you out of the first battle, he's not going to let you fail in the next battle. He's
Right.
ready to help you win every single thing behind it, but you have to use the tools that he's given you. And when you go into the battle and you yield the weapons that he gives you, you are able to conquer and do so many things. And it's not a coincidence that when he went up to the battle that he brought those people with him, because he knew that in those battles that Aaron and Hur are going to help me yield the weapons that they have. They brought them up there so that they could pray, that they could help him. And when we do that and we use the tools that God gives us and we use them to their fullest extent, and sometimes we don't use them to their fullest extent. Sometimes we like cut it off where we
Right.
are like, well, I prayed.
Right.
Did you continue to pray? Did you continue to fast? Did you continue to fight? Did you dot, 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 dot? Faith without works is dead. You can have faith in your prayers, but if you don't continue to do the works and walk in faith and step in faith and, fill in the blanks here, you're not going to ever do anything else. And that's the hard part, especially in these situations, is sometimes we just want to let our arms down. We just want to stop and we want to say, God, I give it to you. And that's it.
Right.
We stop right there and we're like, I gave it to God. It's his battle.
Right. And sometimes, I was having a conversation with a guy today. We were talking about spiritual warfare,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of times men they don't know how to fight,
Yeah.
right? Because we don't know what spiritual warfare looks like. 2 Corinthians 10:4-5, and I talk about this verse all the time. It talks about bringing every thought underneath the captivity of Jesus Christ, and this is my favorite set of verses because it teaches me, right? It teaches me how to fight. Well, if somebody can barge it into your house right now, right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna fight. Fight or flight's gonna come over.
Yeah.
You as a man, you're gonna do whatever you can to protect your family, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, spiritually, as men, we're allowing things into our house that is killing our family.
Oh yeah.
Spiritually, and we can't see it because we are unaware and we do not know how to fight those battles, right?
Yes.
And Moses's place wasn't down on the field. Joshua's place was down on the field,
Right.
right? Moses' place was to hold up that staff. He was to cover the field, right?
Yes.
That's what his job was.
Yes.
Oftentimes we as men, we don't know what our job is even supposed to be, what
Right.
it looks like,
Yeah.
right? We don't understand that, hey, if I drop this ball, right, my family is at stake,
Yes.
right? If I put my arms down, my family's at stake. And when you come to that realization, you will do whatever it takes
Yes.
to make sure that you're able to keep your arms up, right?
Yes.
If you understand that if you put your arms down,
Mhm.
Moses understood. It talks about it here. It says, when Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, but when he put his hand down, Amalek prevailed, right?
Yes.
He found that out the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Because I was thinking about this. You can't just he didn't put his hand down for like 30 seconds and notice that they were winning,
No.
right? People died in between,
Yeah. He's
in between
crap,
there.
crap, crap.
Right? They're like, oh my gosh, they're getting closer. There
Yeah.
are Israelites that are dying. Right? I did that. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Right? And then he begins to see the severity
Mm-hmm.
of his actions, right? Okay, so if I want to keep my family alive, if I want to keep the Israelites alive, they are dependent on me
Yes.
to do what God asked me to do, right? And hold up the staff. We have to know how to fight spiritually.
Yes.
We have to. It is so crucially important. And just to what you said, Kyler, God has given us the tools, right? We have the Word of God. We have prayer. We have, but one of the tools that we have is the people that we surround ourselves with,
Yes.
right? Moses could not have held that staff up on his own, even though it was the tool that he needed,
Yes.
right? He could not have held that staff up and went and got that rock that he sat down on,
No.
right?
Yeah.
The people, the tools, and I don't even really like to use it. I really like to use the word tools when I'm talking about people, but you get what I'm talking about,
Right.
right? he equips us with things and that includes the people we surround ourselves with.
Right.
When we reject those and we decide to just hold everything in together, right? We just hold, just be like, well, this is my battle. This isn't for anybody else. Then, um, then we're not using our tools or the capability. 2017, I went through a thing, and I'm going to tell the story kind of quick, but I went through the issue with my head, right, for an entire year. It's a long story. I'll give the testimony. I've given it before, but I'll give it again some other time. But um, in the middle of this, I had just started the men's ministry a year prior to, right,
Mhm.
and I was going through, and I remember God telling me we had this Facebook Messenger that you're a part of now,
Mhm.
Tyler. Back then, and I remember God telling me we would go through people, men would, they put prayer requests and different things like that on there. Well, God's like, I was having a bad day, right? God's like, put it on there for prayer. And I was like, but I'm the leader, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to give this burden to them. I don't want them to have to feel this weight, right? And God's like, I'm telling you to put it on there. And I'm like, but God, I don't want to do. I was being so selfish,
Right.
right? Because all God asked for is obedience. He's like, okay, but I'm not going to ask again. And I was like, oh smokes, right?
It's like your dad came to you.
Right,
I'm
yeah,
asking you again.
yeah. I mean, it was almost audible.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you again. But what he was teaching me is that he has put men in my life to help me hold up my arms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through that time was tough. It was a battle, right? But I didn't have to do it on my own. He had
Right.
put people in my life. I was not using them,
Right.
right? I was not leaning on them the way that I should have. God's
Yes.
like, hey, I'm trying to teach you something here,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. And we have to remember that no battle was ever fought alone. I
Right.
mean,
That's right.
take away David and Goliath. Okay, that was just a one-on-one conflict
Right.
there. But no battle was ever won alone. I mean, even Gideon took 300 men with him. I mean,
Mhm.
it was less than he wanted, but there was 300 men there behind
Right.
you. I mean, no battle that in history that I've ever known of, okay, ever read about, ever seen, okay. So, and I'm not saying that I know everything, but no battle has ever been conquered alone. No place that will take you. Will he ever take you alone? He is surrounding. If you let him,
Right.
he will surround you with the people that you need. We as men sometimes we surround ourselves with the people that we want,
Right.
that we want to hear from, that we want the yes men sometimes.
Mhm.
Not always the people, because the people in your lives who you need are not always your yes men.
That's
I
right.
mean, I'm sure most like, no, I got this. I'll stand up. Just help me. Like I'm
Mhm.
picturing this like little witty banter with them, and that may not take place at all. But what I'm saying
Right.
is the people who know you best, who know what you need, will sometimes tell you, "Hey, you're wrong. Fix this."
Right.
And those are the people
Yes.
that we need. We need the people who are going to give us that stone foundation so
Mhm.
that we can conquer the battles that we set forth. Because every battle that we fight, and we say this all the time, we never fight a fleshly battle.
Right.
Everything's a spiritual battle. We don't
Everything.
ever, especially as Christians, we don't ever fight a battle that we can often see.
Right.
It's a battle that we can't see. We have no way to win it except for with God.
That's right. Think about this. Jesus, during his time, he never sent the disciples out alone, except for one time. That was just Judas. You know what I mean? Because now, understand this: Judas had already made his decision in his secret
Hmm.
alone, right?
Yeah.
And other than that, Jesus never sent the disciples out by themselves. It was always pairs. It was always twos, at least twos, right? When they went to go find the inn with the donkey, they weren't by themselves. When he sent them out to to preach the gospel and to heal and all that stuff, he sent them out two by two, right? All this
Yeah.
stuff. God does not expect us to go out on our own. He,
Right.
he does not. He does not. He has given us people to surround ourselves with, um, to lift us up, to fight this battle with us, to understand the weight that we carry.
Yes.
And man, this has been a phenomenal conversation, Kyler. Um, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. In way of landing this plane, I want to give a shout out for the book Framework for Biblical Masculinity. We have started a Facebook group. Um, Roman Ministries, become a spiritual leader, be a part of it. search us out. Also, we are starting a coaching program. The beta will start January 1st. I'm excited. We're going to go through 7 pillars of the book, and that come off of Framework for Biblical Masculinity. Hopefully we can help you guys and become the spiritual men that you were called to be, and know that God loves you. He is for you. He wants to see you succeed. And as always, I want to end in prayer. Holy Spirit, teach us to be leaders of our homes, of our communities, and of our churches. Teach us to be godly, courageous men. In Jesus' name, amen.
You've been listening to Real Men Talk. If you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email, realmen@palaceofpraise.com, or visit our website at realmenministries.us. You can also message us through social media. If you're a man age 16 and up and would like to be a part of the conversation, join us at the Palace of Praise every Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. If you don't have a home church, consider joining us for worship on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. Palace of Praise is located at 1400 Herschel Best Boulevard in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. New episodes of Real Men Talk drop every Thursday at 5 p.m. on all major podcast platforms. You can also find us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Real Men Talk is a production of Real Men Studios in cooperation with Palace Media Services.